Hi everyone, it's Maha. So today I'm forcing myself to step outside of my comfort zone and to do something that I'm really not comfortable doing, and it's not really my uh, what I'm strong in, I guess, is to just make a video without anything in particular planned to talk about. But at the same time, I do have a lot to talk about. It's just that I haven't really planned this video. It's very unscripted, it's very spontaneous, and totally informal. So we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be kind of a chatty video where, you know how it is, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I like to be informative, I like to be clear, and I like to make videos that are going to be helpful and useful. And I'm not the kind of person who's generally very good at making informal chatty videos. I know some people are really good at it, and that's a talent. I really think that's a talent. I'm more, okay, I gotta make the video powerful, informative, and I gotta load it with some teaching techniques or something useful, But in this video, I just have stuff to share. I mainly have a huge bag of herbs that I literally hauled in my place the other day. There is a herbal dispensary not too far from my house, and I love this place. It's like walking into one of those ancient herbal apothecaries where you can just get all kinds of herbs and they measure it out for you in front of you, and it's beautiful to walk in there. I highly recommend it, that if you ever come to Vancouver, BC to visit, you should stop by at Gaia Garden. Gaia Garden. If you like to if you love herbs, and if you just like going in and seeing the herbs, because I know you can order the stuff online and most people do, but I just like to go into the shop because I know that the people are there to help me. They're very informative and they know their stuff, and I know I can trust that the stuff comes from, it's well resourced and it's organic. I just trust it, especially because a lot of this stuff is actually going into my body. So I also have some cards in front of me here and some crystals. We'll see where we're going to go with this video. Like I said, I'm kind of nervous about it because I don't really know where it's going. But I just thought I'd make it because I feel like making a video, and it's been really hard in the past month for me. If you did have a chance to watch one of my latest videos that I posted about a month ago, I shared with you that something really traumatic happened to me. I had a really, really horrible experience, which I can't really talk about because it just brings, like, even just thinking about it makes my neck and shoulders tighten up. So I haven't, I guess, fully processed it. It's been a huge, huge learning experience. Oh my gosh, just too costly for me, to be honest with you. One of those learning experiences where you're just like, couldn't it be a little bit easier? And unfortunately, it's affected me on so many different levels. Physically, emotionally, it's been hard, and this event, this situation involved a couple of family members, and so they are involved with it too, I feel like, and it's kind of made me tense around them in some ways. But it's been a really growing experience, learning how to establish my boundaries, be clear with myself, and to listen to my instincts. I'm not saying intuition, but instincts. Just your body, when your body pulls you away from something. And I'm always the kind of person that I listen to those signals, But because certain family members were involved, it made it harder. And that's the thing. It can be really tricky when you do something and you're not really sure if you should do it or not, and the people involved are people who are close to you. It makes it more murky. It makes it more difficult to tune into your own inner voice and inner guidance. I don't know, maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. So it's been a huge lesson for me in that way. And it's not a lesson that I think, it's not one of those things where you're just like, okay, I got it, next. You know, it's like, I think in life, unfortunately, we sometimes seem to have to make some mistakes over and over again before we really get it. And even when we get it, we realize sometimes that even after all the work that you do on yourself, and after all the things you think you've done and you think you've passed, something might happen that you just think, wow, I gotta kind of relearn, or I gotta kind of fine-tune my lessons. Even though I think I got them, it's like it wasn't over yet, you know. So, and I guess that's the challenges of the wounded healer. I really identify with the wounded healer archetype. And I just stopped here because I remembered that one time I saw a video from a person on YouTube that I really admire, and she was saying that she really that she was talking about tarot, and she said that tarot is such a huge part of who she is. And I had to think about that, and I had to think and question, is tarot a part of who I am? Because it seemed kind of odd that I would identify with something outside of myself. Like, tarot is a huge part of my life. I love tarot, I love it, and I learn so much from tarot, and I work with it almost every day. But it's not a part of who I am, it's a part of my life. Do you know what I mean? There is a difference. But when it comes to archetypes, like the wounded healer archetype, when I first discovered the myth of the wounded healer, Chiron, and when I first learned about it, it was like, wow, honestly, it changed my life. It was as if it gave meaning to what I was going through, to all of the pain that I was going through. And I think it's when we identify with an archetype or more archetypes, because I personally believe that there are many different archetypes within our psyche, not just one. And I feel like I can identify with an archetype in a way because an archetype is universal. As Joseph Campbell says, he says, an archetype never was but always is. Never was but always is. So it's, to me, it's a universal energy that I can connect with, and then I feel understood, and then I feel like I have a purpose, and that the events in my life are more meaningful, and the way that they're happening, you know, it makes me come back to that thought that maybe everything is for a reason, even though at the time it feels really hard and it feels really wrong, and that it shouldn't have happened, and that it's just not fair. And I never say that. I shouldn't say never, but I hardly ever catch myself saying, this should not happen. This was not fair. I always kind of very quickly adjust and adapt and find a reason for why things are the way they are. And that's probably my strong Sagittarius in my chart. But this time I really was asking myself, why? Why did this have to happen right now? But I know that at some point I will find a reason for it, and I have my Wounded Healer card, carrying it with me everywhere these days. It's the number 34 card from the Way of the Horse Oracle deck, which I'm working with currently, and I will do a separate video for that because that Oracle deck is just so amazing, and I'm learning so much actually working with it. Not just working with my emotions, but learning about horses and learning about different guidance and lessons that they can teach us. So Yeah, I think that the lessons of the wounded healer are not easy. You know, it takes a lot of courage to be the wounded healer and to carry with you a wound that's constantly reminding you of a pain that is still not healed and makes you feel that you're still not done, even though you thought you were almost done. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go into the herb bag that I've got here. Some of the stuff. Okay, so first of all, the reason why I added this bag here and all these other tools here that I wanted to talk about with you is because I really have this need to express right now what I'm going through, but I'm having a really hard time expressing it in words. And it really feels like words are just not enough to touch on what it is I want to say, you know. But what I could do is say nothing. But what I instead decided to do was to say something and to make an attempt at bringing these things together. I know that sometime in the future I will feel stronger and more courageous to share parts of my journey and my dance with chronic pain with you, and to talk about the wounded healer archetype and how I connect with it more. That would definitely need to, I would definitely have to make 2 separate videos and dedicate that to those 2 topics, which right now I don't feel ready. I don't feel ready to tackle whatsoever, as I'm sure you understand. I think once the pain is more manageable, and once I come to a place where I feel like I can actually talk about it, then I would love to make a video on those 2 topics, on the wounded healer archetype and how I identify with it and why, and also about my chronic pain journey, because I think it's very important to talk about those things. As much as, you know, we show up here in front of the camera smiling and looking pretty, the truth is that who we really are inside, how we really feel inside, is impossible to see with our visual eyes. And it's sometimes even impossible to explain to other people in words. I know that certain people are really good at expressing their thoughts to others, but I know at the same time that those same people have a really hard time putting their emotions together in words and expressing it to others. I think that obviously the mind is, you know, it's the element of air, it's our intellect, and it's connected to how we express ourselves through words, whether it's speaking or in writing or whatever. But when it comes to expressing stuff that's really deep inside, then we have other tools, I guess, in life. So without rambling, you know, let's get on to this because I don't have much time to sit here, in fact. So I've got a whole bunch of things that I want to share with you. First of all, let's just look at this because I have this wand that I got from them, and I don't really know what, they couldn't tell me what it's made out of. They said sage and lavender and rose, but it looks like there's some other stuff in it, and I wish I knew the name of this thing. Oh my gosh, it smells so amazing. And it looks like there's cedar, there's lavender, and then there's this leaf that I don't recognize, and then there's lots of sage, but it's a different kind of sage. I mean, it's white sage, but the leaves are really small. It's beautiful anyway. And I got this because I felt like I needed to have some variety in my incense cabinet, and I was out of sage. But I'm so glad that this is a mixture of stuff, and it's so relaxing, you know, for me to burn my herbs and to use my essential oils, to drink my tea, just holding the cup in my hand when I'm going through a hard emotional time, just holding a warm cup of tea. Just, I don't know, it does something to the nervous system. It really calms me down. So I've got this little container of rose buds. These are tiny little rose buds. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. Tiny little rose buds for tea. And these are from Iran. It was sent to me as a gift from a very dear friend. And we use a lot of roses in Iran, in tea, in pastries, rose water, everything. We have everything rose. And so that's a beautiful gift, and I've been adding this into my teas. And I wanted to share this with you because there's these tea bags. I don't usually use tea bags unless I'm drinking green tea. I don't drink black tea, but I don't buy pre-mixed teas or tea bags because, well, because they usually use a lot of artificial flavors, and I get headaches from that smell of artificial flavoring. So I usually just make my own herbal blends. So I'll show you some, but I do buy this green tea bag that's made by Traditional Medicinals. That's what it's called, Traditional Medicinals. And you know that little paper thing at the end of the tea bag? I have no idea what it's called, so if anybody can tell me, that would be great. You know that little paper part? Well, with this tea bag in particular, with this tea company, it has a message on each one. So when this whole thing happened to me a month ago, I was drinking one of these every morning. That's how I started my morning. I would take one of these out and I would just make my tea, and then I would read the little message, and it's very sweet. I kept some of them. I'm going to read them to you. This one is cute. Oh yeah, this one. Actually, it's not cute, but it helped me a lot. Actually, one day, one of those hard days. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. It's a Lao Tzu quote. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The lesson of patience, everybody. Such a hard lesson. I don't care who thinks it's easy. I'm telling you, I think it's one of the hardest lessons. I mean, patience really is. When you're going through something hard, it's probably number one. Just to wait and to ride the waves and let nature take its course. Okay, so this is the one I put in my rose. Initially, I put in my rose tea container. He who wants a rose must respect the thorn. And it's a Persian proverb, which I was so proud of because I thought, oh my gosh, they never use Persian anything, so this must be kept and put into my rose container. Yeah, they usually don't use Persian proverbs. If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere. Vincent van Gogh. Love him. If you like Vincent van Gogh, not necessarily if you like his art, but if you like him, if you're interested in him, I would invite you to read Dear Theo. If you haven't read it already, it's a book of a collection of all his letters to his brother. It's called Dear Theo. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. It's so sensitive. It's amazing. I love that book. Earth Laughs in Flowers. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I have been using, not finished with the herbs, but I've been using the Secret Forest Tarot deck, the Tarot of the Secret Forest. And I just find that it's been very healing for me at this moment. Again, I guess because it's very nature-based. The colors are very gentle, yet they have that kind of nostalgic, emotional tone to them. And then the cool thing about this deck is that it's double-sided, so you've got one side with colors and then one side with black and white. And I think that's what makes this this deck very unique. This is the Six of Swords. Check this out. Isn't that powerful? That made me I really meditated on this image today, and it really helped me kind of emotionally get through some of the thoughts I was having. And then this is I think this is a King of Swords. I like that it doesn't have any writing on it, because to me this deck feels like it's like it's very poetic, but it's like telling a story. So I can put the images together like in a spread, and the images read like a story. And the fact that it doesn't have any keywords on it, it engages my imagination more, so then I don't right away associate, oh, well, this is the Ten of Cups, blah, blah, blah. I have to go in and I have to think about the image more. This is the Two of Cups. Like, for example, there is this flower here, and then there's this person, and everything is kind of pointing to that center. I look at the image and I think so many things, and then if I think Two of Cups, then I think about the meaning of the Two of Cups, and I don't really relate that to this image necessarily with this deck. So I like to just play with the images in this deck. I feel like right now, because I'm going through this kind of state, I need very, not really necessarily gentle decks, but decks that are not authoritative. They're not like telling me how to think and what to think, you know, when I'm reading the cards. They're just allowing me to explore and allowing me to kind of sit with the image and sit with my emotions. I also made a wand myself. It's from my garden, lavender and rosemary, and I love this combination. Lavender and rosemary are actually from the same family, but they smell amazing together. They do. They really smell so nice together, in my opinion. Okay, let's go back to the herbs. So this is, I got the single rosehip seeds, and I make tea with rosehip seeds. Lots of vitamin C, guys. But if you are gonna take rosehip seeds in a tea and you want that for vitamin C, I recommend that you remember not to boil the water, because when you boil the water, many people don't think about this, but when you boil water, and when it's hot, it kills all the vitamin C. So if you want vitamin C, anything, make sure the water is hot but not boiling. And I personally don't ever boil my water when I'm making tea, because I don't want to destroy any of the minerals. The minerals usually get destroyed up to a certain temperature, so you don't want to go too hot. I'm going to make some room here. I'm going to pause the video for a sec. So now I'm just going to kind of whiz through the rest of the stuff that I've got here, which is a lot of stuff. So I've got a huge bag of herbs. This is my nutritive tea. These herbs contain a lot of nutrients. Red raspberry, calendula, oat straw, oat seed, and I've added skullcap in here. So these are herbs that can provide you with tons of minerals. And taking herbal teas is one of the best ways for the body to absorb nutrients. So I make a kind of an infusion. I let it sit overnight and I drink it in the mornings. And this is great for, these are great for so many things. Calendula is highly antioxidant. Red raspberry is also good for female hormone balancing. And these herbs also contain a lot of calcium and magnesium. So all those minerals are essential minerals that we really need. That's kind of my basic dose. I wanted to provide myself with lots of beneficial herbs to kind of bring my body more into balance right now. And because I have some nerve pain issues, one of the things that I deal with, one of my chronic pains that I deal with is with nerve pain, and skullcap is really good for nerves. It's also relaxing. Because I'm on medication, I didn't want to add too many herbs, and I'm also adding in that tea blend nettles, or nettle leaf, I guess. This is really full, packed with minerals, tons of calcium in here, you guys. And it's actually pleasant tasting, in my opinion at least. So I do a combination of those. And then I bought sage to drink. So this is sage tea. I love sage tea. Recently I've been really getting into it. I didn't used to like the smell of sage tea before, but I'm really liking it now. And also I'm liking rosemary. We have tons of rosemary in our garden, so I make rosemary tea. sometimes I just have it by itself. Oh, what I like to do is make rosemary tea, and then I have honey that I've added rose petals into. Gives it such a nice flowery scent. So it's like floral honey, and I use that honey into my tea. So it's kind of like a rosemary, rose, honey flavor, and then I add a little bit of milk in it. That's my favorite tea. It's just really relaxing. Rosemary is not a relaxing herb, it's a stimulant. But for me, it brings up memories of relaxation. I think it's important that when we use scent or herbs for relaxation, it's also important the memories we have associated with the scents and with the herbs, I think, are really important in healing. And so for me, rosemary brings up a lot of kind of comforting sensations and memories. So I like to burn it, I like to make tea with it. And oh yeah, right here, this is a blend that I'm making. It's this I didn't buy. It's a combination of rosemary from the garden, rose petals, and lavender flowers. I've mixed this all together. I'm making a loose incense blend. That's also really relaxing. But I'm waiting to pick up some white sage, which I want to mix in here as well. I guess I should be seeing. Yeah. You're seeing the things I'm showing you. I'm just noticing my camera angle. Okay, so the next one, which I got here, is a little bit of a relaxing blend that I kind of put together. Lavender, lemon balm, and calendula. And rose petals. And then I got this thing, I haven't tried it yet. It's a mocha spice tea, and it has chicory root, carob leaf, crystal malt, cinnamon bark, allspice, and vanilla powder. Yum! It sounds really yummy. I'm planning on blending this with rooibos. I just got some loose rooibos, which I'm going to blend together. And then I got this really amazing white tea. Have you guys heard of white tea? I'm sure most of you have. It's basically the same as green tea and black tea. It's just the purest. It's the same plant, but it's the purest form of it. It's the least oxidated form of it. So it doesn't have as much impurities. It says large, unrolled, light green leaves with lots of white tips. Mild, digestible, flowery, and aromatic in taste. First class quality. Yeah, this is really amazing. It's light, you know, so as I said, I don't boil my water, and I just kind of make hot water, and then I let it sit for a few minutes. I find that bittery taste is not so much noticeable with white tea as it is with the other teas. And that's all. Oh. Okay, you guys, I'm falling in love with benzoin. This is a sample. She put a couple of drops of benzoin for me because I was smelling it there and I was falling in love with it. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it, but I ordered some already. It's coming because I order my essential oils. I've already talked about this from 2 very specific companies only. So I ordered from them, and it's coming. And I'm so happy that I discovered a new scent, because if you've been watching my videos, you know that I just have a huge collection of essential oils, and I love essential oils, but I haven't come across a scent like this that I've been so not only intrigued by, but it's been so inviting. It's like eating a really yummy, delicious, luxurious dessert without actually swallowing it, without actually, swallowing it in your stomach, but getting the same satisfaction as eating it. Okay, so just quickly, when I was little, I used to always, I've had, oh gosh, side note, I've had digestive issues since childhood. And I remember thinking when I was little that I wish I could just, like ice cream, things that I loved, I wish I could just take them, put them in my mouth, taste them, and enjoy them, be satisfied without actually swallowing it, because as soon as it went down to my stomach, it was like trouble. I couldn't digest it. I would have horrible problems. Like I just always had digestion problems. So I was always experimenting with this, and it never worked, of course, because go ahead and try it. I mean, you can't really enjoy food unless you actually swallow it all the way down. So this, coming back to benzoin, feels like you just had that dessert. You enjoyed it. Everything is fine. Your stomach is fine. You digested it, and it sits with you. It sits with you. This is like one of those oils that linger for a long time. Benzoin. It has one of its chemical components is vanilla. It's the same as vanilla, so it has a vanilla-ish scent. So if you don't like vanilla, you probably won't like benzoin. It's got a lot of calming effects, it's a calming oil. It calms the central nervous system. It's one of those oils that apparently is effective for grief, when you're going through grief or trauma. It's very calming for the body, for the mind, for the emotions. It's one of those oils. So right now, it's a perfect time. And then I have my stone here that's I got from my beautiful friend saddlac. And I can't remember what it was called. This stone, I didn't write it down. Calcinite? No, I can't remember, but it's very interesting. What was it called? I wish I could remember for you guys. I will write it in the description menu, okay? Because I can't remember right now, but this stone has a beautiful feel to it. It comes in shades of lilac, but this one particular piece that I've got here feels very absorbent and earthy to me. And the reason I was smelling it is because I anoint my crystals sometimes, especially if they're absorbent. And this one I anointed with sandalwood initially, but then I discovered that I have this piece of amber, really high quality amber, in a box of crystals, and I discovered that all those crystals took in the scent of amber, and especially my blue kyanites. I have this piece, but I love blue kyanite. It's so healing. I've been really working with this stone, this crystal, these days. And I had this blue kyanite sitting on my shelf, and I was walking by the shelf, and I smelled just a hint of amber, and I was thinking, what is that smell? Where is it coming from? And then I noticed it's from this blue kyanite that was sitting in that box with the amber in it. So I put some crystals in there, including this one, this stone, and it's absorbed the amber scent. And so all I need to do is place this stone somewhere on my shelf, somewhere in my drawer, and I kind of smell it, you know, very in a subtle way. So as you walk by, as you go ahead with your day, doing your things, you kind of get a whiff of the scent, and it's almost unconscious. It's almost like sending you relaxation signals in a sort of very, very unconscious way. You know what I mean? It's not very direct. It's very subtle. So suddenly you're thinking, why am I so relaxed? Because you've got that stone sitting there. It's working for you. All right, so then I have some other pieces of, this is cherry. This is cherry, twigs of cherry that I've collected from our cherry tree outside, because I want to make an infused oil with cherry bark, cherry twigs, and some other oils that I haven't thought about yet, because I was working with the, what is it called? Wisdom of Trees Oracle deck, and I kept drawing the same card over and over again, which is this cherry card. Beautiful, relaxing image of cherry blossoms, which remind me of my childhood. And I kept drawing this. Honestly, like even opening the book, I came to the same page all the time. And every time I kept drawing and working with this deck, I kept drawing, like it happened more than twice. So I fixated this on my study room where I'm usually working. And I thought I should make an oil to remind me of the message of this tree, which I will read to you a little tiny section of the guidebook here, because it was so appropriate and so helpful for me when it came up. So it says, do not complicate your life with anxieties. Concentrate on the beauty of nature and trust in the endless cycle of all things. Keep your thoughts and intentions pure and honest, and treat others with an open and loving heart. I think that the part that especially sang to me and rang true for me was the part about not complicating our life with anxieties, because even when things are wrong, we make them worse by thinking about them. And now that I said worse, I remembered something that I wanted to mention in this video before I forget, before I leave, which is that I've been really into this show on Netflix, you guys. You have to watch it. It's just perfect. It's called The Worst Witch. The Worst Witch on Netflix. It's a kids show, okay? But it's amazing. I really love it. I love the acting. I love the lessons in the show. I think it's just perfect because it uses all these vocabularies that we're so familiar with, like familiars and coven, and you know, just like it just uses our witchy vocabulary, and it's not a stupid show. Actually, I think this show is done with a lot of thought, and it's fun to watch. It's light. You know, I'm the kind of person, I'm very sensitive to images, so I tend to watch kids shows more often than I watch adult shows, because I find that when I watch adult shows, I get so into them sometimes, especially when they're good, that they kind of take over my life. Like, I go around thinking about the show, dreaming about the show, and walking around thinking like, who the hell am I? I totally forget sometimes that I'm standing where I'm standing. It's like I get disconnected from my body and I feel ungrounded because I feel too absorbed in the content of the shows. That happened to me with Once Upon a Time. I couldn't watch it anymore. It happened to me with Breaking Bad. Anyway, The Worst Witch is a great show. Check it out if you haven't already and tell me what you think. I would love to hear someone telling me that they actually watched this show. Okay, that's it. I'm trying to rush through all this stuff, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being with me today and for listening. If you've been here with me today until this point, thank you. And I'm sending you lots of love and many blessings. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.